Okay, we're all set. Do the pledge. Rise for the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the February meeting of the Town Board. In Richard's absence tonight, the supervisor's absence, I'll be running the meeting. I think this is the first meeting he's missed in 10 years. Since I've been on the board, he's never missed a meeting, so we'll have to give him a break on this one. So, okay, approval of minutes. Reorg meeting January 9th.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Monthly Town Board meeting of January 9th.
So moved. All right.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Special meeting of September 16th, 2019.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
I vote aye. Monthly Town Board meeting of November 7th, 2019.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. And the last one is a special Town Board meeting, November 20th, 2019.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Okay, committee reports. Conservation Board.
Okay, the Conservation Board met on January 14th. Basically, it was all waterfronts. First one dealt with the Mystery Point Preserve, the Manitou Point Preserve, that's 100 Mystery Point. This is for a new dock structure, basically 4 foot wide by 63 foot long on pilings. They're also going to have an aluminum gangway, which is 8 by 20. There'll be pilings driven into the rock. This is to accommodate kayaks. The design will not bottom out, meaning they've obviously taken into account the different tides and so forth to ensure during the low tides that they won't have a problem that way. They are, obviously, the CB raised some initial points in regards to the view shed itself and those considerations which will have to be looked at. And also, obviously, the high tides, and to make sure that they are really studied the latest high tide, since really the maps that we've had for flooding in the past have been altered because of reality. Also, the soil actually disturbed in this area is 540 square feet. The other one was down also on the Hudson River, 12 Hudson River Lane. This is to replace a deteriorating seawall, about 50 feet, stone abutment, the installation of a floating dock, a gangway. There'll be some site grading. They'll utilize screens to reduce the sediment from creep, they call sediment creep, obviously, into the waterway and so forth. Both applications, meaning the previous one and this one, are going through the DEC and the Army Corps of Engineers. The CB discussed with them with some of their experiences, which dealt with mushroom anchoring versus piling. And obviously, that's in regards to both its effectiveness for each one and then the actual disturbance itself on the waterfront. The actual soil disturbance in this area is 2,178 square feet. This one will be utilized for kayaks and small boats. The CB performed a site visit and will discuss that with the applicants at their February 11th meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Recreation.
The Recreation Commission met on February 4th, and the program director reported that the spring brochure is out February 10th. Oh, can you hear me now? Yeah. February 10th, actually, the spring brochure is out now. February 10th, residents will be able to begin registering for the spring programs in the brochure. The summer program is coming out March 9th, and summer registration will begin on March 9th for residents of Philipstown. The Rec Commission also met with the group interested in starting a community garden in Philipstown, and that discussion is ongoing. There will be one more meeting coming up soon to continue the discussion on community gardens. The next meeting of the Recreation Commission is on February 25th.
Philipstown Hub.
The Philipstown Hub had a lovely breakfast this week, which was at its offices to welcome the Chamber of Commerce And they also had a panel on wellness, which included physical, mental, and holistic wellness programs, as well as dance therapy. And it was standing room only. The breakfast was well attended, and the Philipstown Hub is planning a lot of activities for the spring. So we encourage everyone to visit the website and find out what's going on with the Hub. It serves all the residents of Philipstown, and it is open to the public, and it has a storefront, as you know, in the village of Cold Spring.
Thank you, Chief. Planning Board.
Planning Board, I attended a planning board meeting on January 16th. There was 2 items on the agenda, but before we get into that, Neil Zuckerman is now the head chair of the planning board. As we indicated a few months ago, Andy Morani stepped down for health reasons, and Neil is now the new chair. Also, Dave Harding, who's on the planning board as well, gave his resignation, which we're going to vote on very soon in our agenda. Let's just like to thank Dave for all his hard work over these I've been on a liaison for the planning board for 5 years now, and just like to thank Dave for all his time and effort over those last several years. I greatly appreciate it. Everyone on all our boards, as you know, is basically all volunteers, and they all do a great job. And the planning board, it's not an easy board. They have to really dig into what the work is, understand what needs to be done. So I credit everybody on the planning board and all our boards in our town. The first item on the agenda, which I did report on last week, was Mazzola on Langate Road. The applicant is seeking a minor site plan approval for construction of a new 1,800 square foot, 4-bedroom home, a single-family residence, and a private septic and well. There was a site visit on January 12th. Out of that site visit, the planning board just discussed the possibility of moving the septic system a little bit further away from the road than it currently is. They're going to look into that and see if that's possible, but they have a public hearing scheduled for the next planning board meeting, which is the 20th of this month at 7:30 in this location. The other item on the agenda was Riverview Industries, Route 9 in Cold Spring. The applicant is seeking a major site plan approval for a parking area and commercial truck parking and storage. The applicant owns the operation of commercial trucking repair and auto body business on 2 parcels located across the street from Route 9, where this existing piece of property was looking to extend for the parking area. The property is approximately 4.5 acres, and it's a highway commercial zoned. There was a site visit there on January 12th as well. The planning board does have some concerns. Also, this is very preliminary now. Mr. Watson is representing Riverview Industries, but right now he hasn't really come up with a full set of plans or anything like that. But there are some concerns. There's a lot of equipment sitting over there. Leakage from oils from trucks and equipment is concerning, and also there is a wetlands in the area as well. There's also a lot of material there as well, and there's also a couple of he has a couple violations. So applicant will have to work with the code enforcement agent to clear up the current violations against his property. Right now, there's no further movement on this particularly. I'm sure they're going to come back again next month, but we'll see what happens from that. This is one of the shortest meetings I ever attended. The meeting was adjourned at 8:10. Next meeting is February 20th. Here, thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Zoning, that's me. I attended the January 13th meeting of the ZBA. The first was a continuation and application for Rick and Mark Ventura, the famous property at 1 Langate Road off of Route 9. The application was for an interpretation of the town code, which had shut him down, the code enforcement officer. So he applied for a variance from the zoning board, or interpretation from the zoning board, to continue his operation as a pre-existing non-conforming. This application was denied unanimously by the ZBA. So he was out. So now he has filed an Article 78 against the town ZBA. So that basically prevents any type of action from the town to cease his operation. So he is continuing to operate because he has filed this Article 78 against the ZBA. So he will continue to process material, which he's doing on a regular basis. So I spoke with the code enforcement officer today. He's been in contact with the attorney for us that's handling it, and we're going to see what the next step's going to be. But this allows him to continue to operate, basically. So on other items, there was a public hearing for 60 Lake Surprise Road. The application was for a 1,973 square foot garage, which exceeds the limit without a zoning board approval. This garage is on 50-plus acres, so this application was approved unanimously. And then Jose Romeo is seeking interpretation of a building permit issued to a neighbor at 529 Route 9D in Garrison. This was a lengthy discussion. The video is available, also the minutes are available. The determination was the ZBA was going to do a site visit to the scene, and their public hearing was going to continue on the February 10th meeting. There was also one application. Michael Kinsley, 8 Ferris Drive, is applying an application to seek a variance for an addition of 18 by 35 to the rear of his residence where the setback will be exceeded. This application was complete, and it was also scheduled for the public hearing at their next meeting, which is February 10th. That's it for zoning. And I have the highway report also. Philipstown Town Board members from Carl Frazenda, work performed by the Philipstown Highway Department for the month of January. A new year, more of the same road problems. Crews were busy potholing, spot grading, and clearing waterways and pipes. Thankfully, not plowing snow. The crews have worked several snow and ice storms this month with little fanfare. A resolution was passed to purchase of a cam trailer with funds coming from the new 2020 budget. The trailer has been ordered and picked up. It will be used to transport the Bobcat and Kubota to various job sites. A dumping of old TVs and computer monitors on Coleman Road created overtime hours plus dumping fees. Everyone shares in the cost to clean up illegal dumping. We are asking residents to please call the Sheriff's Department or the Highway Department if they see anyone dumping alongside of the road, and provide any details you can. The Highway Department received approximately 12 phone calls, visits, or fax regarding road concerns for the month of January. The Highway Department spent roughly $14,600 on vehicle maintenance and repairs in January. That's it for highway. Building and land acquisition, we have a few items we're going to discuss during the agenda about the town hall renovation, so we'll address those when we get to that. Cemetery Committee, Mike.
Okay, the Cemetery Committee took advantage of the mild winter. Normally, we kind of get blocked out with the snow, obviously. In this case, we contacted the stonemason, who many of you know from our previous discussions has done tremendously great work in our 2 village cemeteries, and obviously we began in North Highlands as well. I did an inspection of the 4 cemeteries, and again, I spent some time in McKeel's Corners. Hopefully I didn't disturb a lot of people there, because that's a landlocked cemetery and not too many people go back there. But I'm of the belief now that we may have to change some plans we originally set up, meaning I'm concerned about, and I've raised this once before, about some actual stones that sit on this hill there. If you've ever been back there, it's a very unstable kind of hill, and there are cemeteries, stones there that are in danger of collapsing, I think. Some good rains, and some of them could actually go down the slope, which would become very difficult to get at since it's landlocked, and there's properties that probably end up on some of these properties. So to try to avoid that, I'm going to ask the stonemason to perform an inspection with me, and then whether we can start in the spring, but certainly no later than the fall, probably take a look at diverting over there. And then we are finishing, if anybody's looking at the village cemeteries, we are going to continue there, but there's nothing imminently dangerous in those, where McKeel's is a different story and North Highlands was, for anybody who was here months ago. So that's kind of what we're going to be taking a look at, if hopefully the winter lets off a little bit more. But we are going to continue to do some additional work in North Highland Cemetery right now this winter, as long as the snow lets up. We've already began that, and they're doing a good job. I inspected that the other day. Okay, and our next meeting is February 11th.
Okay. So, thank you, Mike. We'll move on to the agenda. That's you, Tad.
The first item is a resolution accepting the resignation of David Hardy, member of the Planning Board, effective immediately.
So I can read the letter. Dear Richard, the time has come for me to resign from the Philipstown Planning Board. I have enjoyed working with my fellow board members and all of those who enabled the board to function with such integrity. It has been a rich experience for me, and the appointment has been very much appreciated. My resignation is effective as of today. Please pass on my best wishes to all involved. Best regards, David Hardy. And Bobby, you had mentioned was a good part of the planning board. He's been on there as long as I can remember.
Yeah, he's been, like I said, he's been on there for a good 5-6 years now, if not longer. So I'll make a motion to accept his resignation.
Second?
Unfortunately.
Second, regrettably. Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, and I
I'd like to also, at this time, we should be running an ad, Tara, maybe to, because we do have 2 open seats. We have some interest.
That'll be the second seat, right, on the plate.
Could be the second one, so if we could put an ad in the paper in the next week or so, it would be great. Thank you.
The next item is a resolution authorizing Carl Forsenda, Highway Superintendent, to purchase a Kubota diesel tractor L4701 HST to be purchased on state contract 67693 for the amount of $28,704.53 out of the 2020 equipment line.
This was something we discussed with Carl during the budget time. This is money that's in our budget, so it's just expenditure from the existing budget. So I'll take a motion to allow Carl to purchase the Kubota diesel tractor.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye.
The next item is a resolution approving the following 3 change orders for the Town Hall renovation project, Nunk-Pro-Tunk, removing, rerouting heating, hot water piping not shown or called out for on the contract drawings, replacement of all finned tube radiators, and to move the existing AHU unit out of the ceiling and into the enclosed attic area.
Okay, so these are 3 items that we've discussed with the contractors, Richard and myself, and the clerk of the works. I know Bobby's been inside there as well. The first one was, if you've ever done a reconstruction, baseboard does not hold up well in a renovation. So the first one was to remove the existing baseboard, keep it functioning during the construction so the building will stay warm, and then replacing it is the second one. The last thing, which they were a few $1,000s each. The major one that we've addressed is the moving the existing air handler out of the ceiling. If anybody, you wouldn't believe the ceiling that's on the second floor of the town hall. If you go upstairs, when the drop ceiling was removed, about another 6 feet up from that is a beautiful old tin ceiling, which was in fairly good condition considering the amount of time it's been up there and not taken care of. We went and looked at it, we didn't have the heart to cover it back up again. So what had to be done is the new air conditioning system that was installed, I don't know, probably 2 years ago.
Yeah, 3-4 years ago.
Is hung in the middle of that space. So what we're doing is we're taking that air handler out, all the ductwork, pushing it back over the judge's chambers, and then reducting it above that ceiling. Believe me, if you see it, it's worth the expenditure. So I forget, where is that total?
Over $10,000.
No, that one's more than that.
I believe it was the third total for the ceiling was $21,400.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and that's the movement of the air handler equipment. The general contractor, it's going to be a wash with him because he doesn't have to sheet rock a ceiling, so he's going to repair the existing tin ceiling. I'm going to try to get some pictures, and because we can't let people just go in there and walk, but I'm going to get some pictures of them and distribute it. Maybe we can put it on the website so people could just see. It's going to be amazing when it's done. So I didn't have the heart to say, put that drop ceiling back up and cover up that ceiling.
Yeah.
There's beautiful cornices in the corner. I mean, it's amazing. So
And it's about a 15-foot ceiling, too.
it's
high.
got to be 50. And then there's
15 foot.
6 feet above that. So
Right.
that whole mansard is up on top of there. So it's quite amazing. So so we need resolutions for these three items. So we could do it as one. We could do one.
It's all, we're doing
It
the
is
same way
one.
we did last time. We did the 2 together
Okay.
last month.
So I'll entertain a motion for removing, rerouting, heating, and hot water piping not shown or called out for on the contract drawings, replacement of all the fin tube radiators, and remove the existing air handler unit out of the ceiling and into the enclosed attic area.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Okay.
Next item is a discussion with the Garrison Fire Company members regarding fire lanes throughout the district.
That's you, Dave.
Good evening.
Good
I'm
evening.
David, pardon?
Good evening.
I'm David Brower, I'm Commissioner with the Garrison Fire District. Late summer, early fall, we put new signs up on a couple of our fire lanes. And it came to our attention from the sheriff that they're not legal because they're not codified. So what we'd like to do is set up a workshop with the board and the fire marshal and discuss those and some other issues that we have with local roads. And also, basically, that's it. But there are two entrances on roads, one on 9, one on 9D, where similar to up in Cold Spring, where the fire trucks are bottoming out. So we need to change those grades. And I understand somebody.
9 and 9D to town roads, or 9 and 9D to a county road?
Well, they're town roads
Okay.
that go into the state roads.
Okay.
One is Old West Point West, and the other one is
Oh,
South
that's-
Mountain Pass
Yep, yep.
on 9D. Somebody told me that there's work going to be done on that entrance.
We're gonna grade, we're not grade, we're gonna pave from 9D up to where we left off a couple of
Right,
years
well,
ago.
in so doing that, it'd be great if we could change that grade so that the truck doesn't bottom out. I also understand you were going to take out some of the south side of it.
Well, I think that's still up for discussion. I'm
yeah,
not 100% sure where
Okay,
we stand
because,
with that, but we could.
well,
probably find-
either way, I mean, this is work that can be done
Yep.
while that, so, and, you know, there's other discussions, of not just the fire lanes, but there's other issues that should be discussed, so if you guys could set up a workshop.
The only reason I mean, I have no problem setting it up, but the supervisor's out of town
Yeah.
until the weekend.
Mhm.
So once he gets back, we'll get in touch with you and we'll set
Yeah,
up something.
that's fine, I mean, we're available,
Yeah, we could do
it's
any
that time of
Wednesday.
year.
Right.
Yeah, Wednesday night.
Any Wednesday
Any
night.
Wednesday
Yeah,
night.
any
Right.
Wednesday night is
So
fine.
We'll schedule something, but.
Right, and just, I'd like to mention, I don't know, for the people in Phillips, in all of Philipstown, that Garrison now has a ladder truck, it's in service. And also, on your way out, if you go around the parking lot, we've installed a fire hydrant on the east side of the parking lot that goes down to the pond.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So that'll make it easier, more fire service for here, and it'll be easier to fill up the pond in the wintertime, or fill up this ice skating.
If we get some cold weather,
Thank you,
right.
David.
Whatever
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
freezes.
We'll be in touch.
The next item is a discussion with Roberto Mueller regarding the adoption of the Philipstown Complete Streets Policy and
There he is.
Resolution.
There he is.
You're up, Burrow.
What's up, Roberto?
Good evening. So Richard invited me to attend the meeting tonight, although unfortunately it seems like he can't be here.
Sure.
So it goes. Back in September, we had a workshop looking at adopting a complete streets policy for the town of Philipstown, and the basic idea is that it increases safety and user friendliness for all different users of our public streets. And that includes, there's a list on the resolution, pedestrians, bicyclists, persons with disabilities, motorists, movers of commercial goods, users and operators of public transportation, seniors, children, youth, and emergency vehicles. So after that workshop, we held a couple more local workshops with our two neighboring villages, and also had a public event at the Desmond Fish Library to hear from the Department of Transportation from Dutchess County, because they had already adopted a complete streets policy and wanted to gain some wisdom from their experience in doing so. And thereafter, I went to work basically drafting a policy based on neighboring municipalities such as Fishkill, Beacon, Kingston, and Dutchess County. So put together the policy that I'm hoping Richard had passed on. You do have it, okay, good. So I guess this is a chance just to field any questions if you have some.
Did everybody on the board got to read through it? I
Yes.
read through it and it seemed sensible, and you guys made a great presentation in September. I mean, I have no problem
No.
voting on it, and I'm not going to read the entire.
It's a little long, I know.
Do you know, Roberto, if there are any state grants available, like to fund some initiatives?
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, so Complete Streets is part of the Climate Smart Communities program. So any implementation projects that involve fixing roadways or adding sidewalks or bike lanes, that all fits within the grant program. So the programs are only 50% match, so we would still have to come up with 50%, which can be provided by another type of grant, whether federal or private. So it is possible to try to get, as close to 100% funding from other sources.
Thank you.
Sounds good. Any other questions? I mean, if you guys want to vote on it, it's up It's up to the board. I think it's sensible to. Yep.
Sure.
I agree.
Okay, so we'll do a resolution. I mean, there is a resolution here. I don't think, do we need to read through this entire thing? Because I think it's a little lengthy. So we have it in front of us. I will entertain a motion to accept the adoption of the Complete Streets policy and Complete Streets checklist that has been produced.
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye.
Okay, great.
That was easy. Thank you, Roberto.
You're welcome.
The next item is Roberto Mueller to give a brief update on Climate Smart.
You again. Hi.
Can't get rid of me. So the main thing that I wanted to bring up is we're completing or nearing the end of our community greenhouse gas emissions inventory report, which has turned into a monstrous report, but inevitably that was going to happen because of the scale of what we're trying to study. And the idea is basically we're trying to quantify greenhouse gas emissions in our community, so then we can prioritize which different sources should be addressed at the household level, but also through community policy. And so to present the results on our Climate Smart Task Force meeting back in January, we decided that we want to hold a Philipstown climate fair, ideally in early May, to present the results of this study and also to offer solutions for residents both at household level and community level in terms of reducing emissions from some of the different sources, such as vehicles, food waste, buildings, so on and so forth. And we would also like to take the opportunity to thank all of our volunteers who for the past 2 years have been spending a lot of time both at our task force meetings and in between doing research and so on and so forth, helping to move our program forward. So we're looking at Saturday, May 2nd, 2020. This is all tentative right now because we're still working out location. And ideally, we decided we'd like to do it from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. We were looking at several venues. The first choice from our task force was doing it at St. Mary's on their Great Lawn because of its visibility and central location. Unfortunately, or just because of their needs, there's a $600 charge for using their lawn for such an event. And so we sent in an application and got that price. We also have the other option of the Cold Spring Waterfront, which would most likely be for free. It's pending Rec Commission approval. But at least having met with the village board, they were very much in support of it. And then a third option would be Bosca Bell's parking lot. Unfortunately, Saturday between 11 a.m. and around 12:30 or 1 o'clock is when the farmers market is happening, so it might be a little too much at the same time. So we're trying to avoid that. But our thought was after this fair, as kind of the kickoff event, between June and November, we'd table just once a month at the farmers market on a different emission source. So 1 month would be vehicles, the next month would be food waste, for example, and volunteers on our task force who are focusing on that source would be present at the market to share information about the issue, but also offer solutions to people who are attending the market.
Well, I would certainly offer up the rec center if need be. I mean,
Yeah,
if you wanna
right,
do it here.
as another option
Or
too.
at the town park might be another nice
Okay,
venue.
that's good to know. So we're holding our next meeting on February 13th, and I think after that we'll have a pretty clear idea of what we'll do at that point.
Alrighty.
And then the other update is the electric vehicle charging station, which has been a very slow process, in collaborating with the Cold Spring Village Board, is now set, it looks like, for the east end of West Main Street in Cold Spring. So right next to the tracks, next to Susie Tortora's dance studio. There are a couple of parking spaces right there. There's a, yep, exactly, right next to the tunnel. We're awaiting quotes from Burke Services and Padala Electric before scheduling a site visit with Central Hudson. And then the application for 80% New York State funding will be completed by the end of April 2020. And then the last note is due to a conflict.
Anticipate having those installed before year end, do you think?
Hopefully. I think the holdup can sometimes be getting the hookup from Central Hudson, but if things are flowing well, apparently they have new staff dedicated to electric vehicle charging stations, so that might speed up the process. But yeah, hopes are.
It's been in the Westchester news quite a bit lately as well.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of installations. Yeah, and I know Central Hudson itself is looking at installing lots of charging stations where it has some property.
Sure uses their electric.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, the last detail is our Climate Smart Task Force meetings are now on the second Thursday of each month at the Rec Center from 7:30 to 9 p.m.
Thank you, Roberta.
All right, you're welcome.
Appreciate it. Thank you for the update.
Next item on the agenda is James Heyer, Chairman of the Committee for a Putnam County Human Rights Commission, to present the proposal which was given at the county legislator meeting in January.
Thank you.
Oh, do you want to prop them up? Like, how's that, so the board can see them?
Sure.
We can probably get
And
them.
Putnam County Legislator Nancy Montgomery.
Talking to me.
Yes.
Wherever you want. Thank you.
This will speak for itself. Very excited about it.
Well, I want to thank everybody for inviting me to speak here tonight. I really appreciate it. This is a proposal that I've been thinking about for over a year, and I want to thank Nancy Montgomery. You have a very, very good representative in the legislature. When I came and I spoke to her, when I came and I spoke to her about this, she immediately said, "This is great. Let's work on it together." And I presented her with the proposal. She got it put on the Rules Committee. It took her a whole week to do that, and we've gotten some momentum. So I want to talk to you a little bit about why this proposal came to be. I've been involved in one respect or another with human rights commissions for the last 20 years. Back when I lived in Rockland County, I worked with Ram Nugabandi, who at that time was the commissioner. And then when I moved to Westchester County, I've worked with the human rights commissions, not only at the county level, but also we have a number at the village, town, and city levels. And they just do amazing work with the communities. Right now I serve as an administrative law judge at the Westchester Human Rights Commission, and we hear cases dealing with discrimination in housing, employment, public accommodation, and credit. And it's a wonderful venue because people don't have tons of money to hire lawyers. Sometimes they just need to have their claims heard by a fair venue, and we're very proud to do that. So let me just talk about what human rights commissions are. Under New York state law, the legislature at the state level put together a two-prong way to handle human rights. The one was the establishment of the human rights law at the state level, which put into place the New York State Division of Human Rights. It's based out of the Bronx, and they handle enforcement and also education and outreach. And they have satellite offices throughout the state of New York. The closest one to Putnam County is in White Plains. Very, very difficult for most of our residents to get to. We don't have a lot of public transportation here, so it could easily take 45 minutes to an hour. And frankly, a lot of the people that utilize these services don't have vehicles. So it's a problem. But the New York State Division of Human Rights has an enforcement mechanism which is quite amazing. It has a series of administrative law judges. I believe it's close to 30 at this point, and they have investigative staff, and they also do education and outreach, and they work with local municipalities throughout the state. But the legislature understood that the division really could not work on the state level and also work effectively locally, working with villages, towns, counties, and cities on their local human rights issues. We've got 62 counties in the state of New York, and every one is different. So they have different needs, which is why the legislature put into effect the general municipal law, which allows the municipalities, the villages, cities, and towns, and counties to establish their own human rights commissions. So these commissions essentially are comprised of volunteer commissioners who work with local stakeholders, houses of worship, not-for-profits, community leaders, to determine what their needs are. So for example, in Rockland County, there's one county-wide human rights commission. They've been in place for many, many years. They do great work with education and fair housing, employment. They do handle in some enforcement. They take cases and they forward them on to the Division of Human Rights, but they try to work with people through alternative dispute resolution. In Orange County, they have great resources for their community. They do undoing racism workshops, They have panel discussions on anti-Semitism. They have artist programs where people express themselves through art. But one of the things that all of these human rights commissions do, which is just amazing, is they respond to hate crimes and hate incidents. And they facilitate a conversation in the community amongst people who are concerned about these issues, whether it be immigration rights, whether it be LGBT issues, anti-Semitism. And folks, we're dealing with an epidemic when we talk about hate incidents and hate crimes. In Rockland County, just a couple weeks ago, we had people that were stabbed in a Hanukkah celebration. That led to a large meeting throughout the county of Rockland where leaders from all across the county came together and said, how do we work together, the religious community and the non-religious community? In Westchester County, just a stone's throw from my office last year, we had a Holocaust memorial that was desecrated. All right? Up in East Fishkill, we had a cross that was knocked down. In Yorktown Heights, we had another Hanukkah or a menorah that was desecrated. But the amazing thing, in most communities, when this happens, we see an amazing response where the community comes together and they reject hate and they embrace diversity and tolerance. And when the Holocaust Memorial was desecrated, the Westchester Human Rights Commission took the lead, and a couple of days later, we had hundreds and hundreds of people at a rally, and we said very clearly, this is not going to be tolerated in our community. And it was just an amazing moment because there was people from all different backgrounds and faiths that came together and really sent a very clear message to the community that we would not accept that type of hatred in our town, in our city. Now, up here in Mahopac, the religious community, the clergy in Mahopac and Carmel got together, and they had a similar vigil in Mahopac Chamber Park. It was an amazing event. A number of our legislators were there. Our state senator, Peter Harkin, was there. And just a few days later, there was a white supremacist sticker that was put on the menorah in the park. Okay? These are things that we just can't tolerate. And my feeling is that these commissions are really a way to put all of the community stakeholders together, facilitate an ongoing conversation, and make sure that we utilize all of the resources that we have available. Putnam County is a great place. We have a lot of good people. When I've been talking to different groups about this across the county, everybody says, yeah, let's do it. Why not? It's a great proposal because it doesn't cost anything. It would be a complete volunteer commission. There wouldn't be any budget. And to the extent that there were events or different services that were provided, we would reach out to community partners. I can give you an example. The Reformed Temple in Putnam Valley, the two rabbis that run it, when I talked to them about this, they said, when can we start? We'll host programs here. I spoke to the president of the Library Board of Trustees in Putnam Valley. Immediately, she wanted to get involved. And it's really been time after time, conversation after conversation, where people say, how can I help? When is this going to start? Now, these maps are very important because they show you just how underserved Putnam County is. Now, in the lower part of the state, the yellow counties all have a county-wide commission. The yellow counties that have stripes through them have a county commission and at least one local commission. That means that every neighboring county to Putnam has a county-wide commission and at least one city commission. It's amazing, isn't it? So when you look at the services that are provided through these commissions to their residents, it's an amazing resource that we just don't have here. And there's no reason why we shouldn't have it. Now, my human rights experience isn't just limited to the Division of Human Rights and the local commissions. I've also worked with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission at the federal level and HUD. They've got a lot of money. They've got a lot of resources. They can send people into our community to provide services here. We haven't asked them, right? So that's what I'd like to do. It's just really simple. It can make our community better. It could make our residents stronger by having a voice to address these issues. And the reason why I came here tonight is because when I talked to Nancy, I gave a commitment that I would go to every town and every village in the county to try to get letters or resolutions of support so that when we go back to the county legislature and it moves out of the rules committee to the general legislature, that we could try to get the support to get it passed. And I'd like to go back to the legislature and say that we have every town and every village behind us. Because if this just does get passed, and I hope it will, it's really going to be something that all of the towns and villages have an opportunity to participate in. And if they do, it'll be fully successful.
Thank you. You guys have all read through the proposal?
Yes.
I mean, it sounds wonderful. I mean, I can't see any reason why we wouldn't endorse it, but we will, Tara, we spoke, we could draft up a letter of support, and we'll get it to you as soon as we can.
That's wonderful. Can I answer any questions, or?
Anybody have any
Do
questions?
we have a sample resolution from, we did, is it
You're
in there?
gonna,
I
no,
went
not-
through it to
it's
some
the
degree,
proposal,
but,
but you said you could generate a
You said you
tablet.
could
remember
generate
seeing
something
it.
for
I
us.
could.
A
yes,
tablet.
okay.
That'd be helpful.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Is there a hotline, James, like if a person has an issue, notices that something was desecrated, in the other counties that have this, in the other towns?
There's a statewide hotline to the Attorney General's office. They have a hate crimes bureau. And then there's also a New York State Division of Human Rights that accepts those type of reports as well. But I can tell you, whenever there's an issue in the Hudson Valley, the counties or the local commissions jump on top of it right away.
So currently, we go to White Plains.
Currently, for for your residents that need assistance in filing complaints about discrimination in housing, employment, public accommodation, or credit, they would either have to go to the New York State Division of Human Rights office in White Plains, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission office in Manhattan, or they could go to an attorney and spend thousands of dollars seeking relief through the civil courts. I can't stress it enough. The beauty about these commissions is not only facilitating communication and having panel discussions and community events, but it's also the ability to help people that don't have the funds to seek relief through the court system. All of the commissions that I'm aware of, all of them utilize alternative dispute resolution services, mediation.
And all volunteer boards throughout these other counties as well.
All volunteer boards. Some of them have paid staff. For a county of this size, I don't believe that would be needed. And even talking about alternative dispute resolution, we have a community center here that does that already and that has significant funding to do so. It's really just putting all the pieces together to maximize those resources to help people in need.
Sounds wonderful.
Terrific, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so
for
much.
your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Legislator Montgomery.
Nancy, did you want to add anything? Or?
No, I'm
So-
happy to help you
Thank
write
you.
the letter and send it out for support.
Great, thank you.
The next item on the agenda is to schedule any workshops or meetings. We have the monthly town board meeting for March 5th, 2020. And as you spoke of earlier, the workshop you guys are going to set up for.
I would hesitate to schedule a workshop without the supervisor here because I wanted to make sure he's available. But we will be in touch with you, David. We'll get in touch with you next week and we'll schedule some. We have scheduled workshops any Wednesday night, so it could be any Wednesday night throughout the next month.
No problem.
Thank you.
Except the 19th, I think. I think the 19th of Wednesday. Yeah, we'll have to check it, because it's a meeting, me and Rich have to attend, it's a Wednesday.
Oh, I don't think we have any more vacancies on the recreation. Did you get to that part?
Not yet.
Oh, well.
No, we didn't get there yet, but we're getting there.
Nope. Right now, we're going to do the code
Code
enforcement monthly
enforcement.
report. All right, so for the town of Philipstown for January 2020, fees collected $8,921.60. Total numbers of permits issued, 19. All other permits, 19. Number of certificates of occupancy, 32. Number of stop work orders issued, 2. Inspection of public assembly, 1. And inspection of commercial occupancies, 3. For the Village of Cold Spring, also for January, fees collected, 110.
It's 1100.
$1,103? $1,103?
That's what it looks like.
Total number of permits issued, 5. Additions, alterations, or repairs to residential buildings, 1. All other permits, pools, sheds, decks, plumbing, HVAC, etc., 4. Number of certificates of occupancy, 3. Number of stop work orders issued, 1. Inspection of public assembly, 1. And inspection of commercial occupancies, 1.
Thank you to the Code Enforcement Office.
The next item is any other business that may come before you.
Anybody have anything? Board?
Just quickly, just want to bring out that there has been work from Central Hudson on pole replacements on South Mountain Pass. Myself and Carl Sender at least have been, well, sometimes daily, being involved with residents on. They have called about it. They've closed the road. Obviously, if you're familiar with it, it's a long road, very narrow, windy road. Goes from Route 9 at one entrance and 9D on the other, and communication gets difficult at times to be able to advise all the residents. We've been on the phone with Central Hudson to try to arrange that. It's somewhat coming to an end, but as I said to Carl and maybe to the board, that in the future, if Central Hudson has to do this on other roads in the town, I think it'd be best if we had a little discussion ahead of time to be able to organize this a little better. And then I don't think we would be getting the onslaught of calls so much. So we've done.
It's kind of isolated. You can't, there's no other way.
Yeah, so other roads may not be as bad, but I think pre-communication with Central Hudson and setting up will alleviate some of these issues in the future.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, thank you.
Anything from the audience? Yes. Yep, you're on. How are you?
Good evening. I'm Anita Prentice, and I'm here representing the Desmond Fish Public Library. I just wanted to say thank you to the town board for your support. It's really, really appreciated. We try to serve all of Philipstown, and we're available for any needs you might have, or meetings, or get-togethers, or research, or any needs that you might have. I hope you'll call on us. This is our 40th anniversary this year. It was founded in 1980, so we have a lot of great programs coming up, and I hope you'll all stop by.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for everything.
We've had a wonderful program, concert I attended on Martin Luther King Day, a wonderful concert. And also Assemblywoman Sandra Galliff had her town hall, which the Desmond Fish Library hosted.
It's a great resource.
Yes, it is a great
Certainly.
resource.
Yes. I thought you weren't saying anything.
I don't have a legislative report. I'm here on behalf of myself, Nancy Montgomery, resident, and I'm sorry that Supervisor Shea isn't here tonight because I'm sitting in that seat over there, and I'm a little, I have this feeling in my heart because I'm looking around, and we had Roberto Mueller here tonight presenting on climate smart and clean streets, and his mission and his committee dedicating all of this time and volunteering for our community. And then we have Anita Prentice from the library, and sitting next to her is her husband, Nat Prentice, who's heading up our Comprehensive Plan Update Committee. And we have former Councilman David Brower from the Garrison Fire Department. And we have Mike Cunningham here from the Village of Cold Springs Comprehensive Plan Update Committee. And the,
Armstrong.
what did I call him?
Cunningham.
That's okay.
Mike Armstrong from the chapel. And now with this Human Rights Commission, and I just really, it's a really nice night here in Philipstown. I don't know you, but I'm excited to hear what you have.
A lot of the same people do a lot of work in this town.
I just want to say thanks. And Karen Smythe from Dutchess is here, and it's all the great work she does in Dutchess County, and with Vassar and the Bardavon, and it's just a nice night here in Philipstown.
Thanks, Nancy. Okay, yes.
Sure, thank you.
Do you have enough for that?
Thank you.
I'm really here to introduce myself. My name is Amanda Vasta. I am a teacher in Tarrytown at Transfiguration, a small Catholic school. I actually live in Cortland Manor. So I'm here today. I've kind of been in contact with the town. I am looking to start a family and start a home, and I really love Philipstown. I have, my uncle lives down the street from where that is. So I'm in the process of purchasing 9 Cliffside Court in Garrison. And what happened was I was kind of in the process, and an obstacle happened because I guess the zoning law has changed. My father kind of walks me through this. So I found out I didn't have enough frontage. So I saw a lot of raw land near 9 Cliffside Court or Garrison, and it's beautiful up there. So I'm here. I really want to purchase the lot next door. And again, it would also benefit the town because we can put that back on the tax map. And I just love really even the school system, and I'm here to kind of be a part of the community. And I'm young, my boyfriend's here, and I just really enjoy where it is. And I kind of want to see, what's the next step for me, and if that's even possible, that we can buy raw land.
This has been addressed before, and.
Oh, okay. I've been in contact.
Not this lot, but I know there's been other lots that
Okay.
people have looked to purchase. And I might be wrong, but I don't think it's legal for us to sell the parcels. But when the
Okay.
supervisor gets
Well, there's
back,
other reasons, too.
right, we will get in touch with the supervisor and the town attorney and find out if it's.
And find out? Okay.
But in the past, I think it's been, we're not allowed for several reasons.
Okay. No, that's what my answer. That's what I'm
Appreciate,
here.
we'd love to have you in the community.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good.
Okay, that's
But
great.
we'll be in touch. We have your name and phone number.
Yes, all my information's right there.
And we can reach out to you, and hopefully we can work something out.
Okay, thank you. That helps. Thank
Alrighty.
you.
Thank you, Amanda.
We've, just quickly on that, we have done a lot on that road. I live in the area. Last year, we reviewed that with the town engineer, along with our wetlands inspector and so forth. And
Okay.
there's clearly parts of the road that are extremely dangerous. There's a reason for a number of these lots being owned by the town. It is to be able to maintain a very fragile environment there. As you know, I don't know which way you come in, but probably Winston Lane you came
Yeah,
in, right?
yeah.
Okay. Winston Lane side isn't as bad, and going up to Cliffside, I've worked with people in that community to try to look into road improvements, gave them some ideas I got from builders and so forth, or people that worked on the roads, and so there is a group there. In fact, I just got another email tonight from someone from that road, and I haven't been able to respond back, but there has been a lot of discussion there, and there are some of your neighbors just below you and on that corner, when you
Yep.
turn into Cliffside, that has been involved with us as well.
Okay.
It is the worst road in the town. It's just a
I
fact.
know.
Well, it is. It's just, and it's,
them that can claim that.
well, yeah, but this,
We're hoping that we can.
we were lucky to get out of the other end. If you go beyond Cliffside, I'm just warning you that if you don't have a high-terrain vehicle, you could get stuck going over that hill.
Yeah,
right?
we definitely know that.
Depending on the weather.
We're hoping that we can help finance the,
Right.
maybe get that road. I know someone in that neighborhood.
Right on that corner there.
Yeah, was able
some
to
work. Yes.
pave half of it, and we would be
Right.
willing to kind of, make it something. Well, I know you're right. The road is really bad, but
Yeah.
to.
So we've
to
been
help.
trying to work things, but I just wanted you to be aware of that.
Oh, okay.
And the building inspector, of course, can give you some more information about that.
Yeah,
if you
that's
speak
really
to
why
Greg.
I'm here. I
Yeah.
want to know more
So-
answers because I'm kind of ready and jump on this because the lot that I'm in the process with that 9 Cliffside, if it's not buildable, I'm kind of waiting on
Right.
what to say
Understand.
right now. So thank
Okay.
you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else from the audience? Nothing? Going once, going twice? Okay, vacancies, recreation, I think we've filled that. That's not.
Eric Cupper, who's a physician, has joined the Recreation Commission and attended his first meeting this week.
An
So-
ER physician, he'd be
Yes,
handy at
he's
camp, at summer
excellent.
camp.
We welcome his skills and knowledge. Eric Cupper, ARIC, and then KUPPER.
And then planning board, we have 2 openings on the planning board, which we'll be advertising. So hopefully you can fill it. That's an important board for the future going forward with the town, so we need some
Yes.
great people on there, so. Approval of vouchers. General,
So moved.
second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Highway,
So moved.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Continental Village Park District.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Continental Village Water District.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion to adjourn.
I would just like to
Oh, sorry.
congratulate Councilmember Flaherty, whose daughter was recognized by the Poughkeepsie Journal, I believe, as Coach of the Year for volleyball.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Kelsey's had a good year, so it was very nice to get that award as well. Thank you again.
Dedicated. All right, with that, we'll adjourn.
Well, you gotta- Could we do that? I'll make a motion
Can
to
we make a
adjourn.
motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right,
How's
thank
that?
you. Thank you all. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Second, I make it.
Thanks for coming. Nice to meet you.